In this video, I'm going to explain 5 reasons why you are feeling so lost, so confused, disorientated right now during a spiritual awakening. And if you're unsure, am I in a spiritual awakening or not? Essentially, it's your spirit waking up. You're starting to see and sense and feel the world differently, a shift in perspective. And there's many different stages in a spiritual awakening, but I really want to hone in on this video of why you're feeling so lost and offer you insights and support to start to feel a little bit more grounded and anchored in this phase and stage of your spiritual awakening so that you can feel calm and at peace and not so, where am I going? What am I doing? What's next? All those questions and spiraling thoughts within your mind. A spiritual awakening is kind of like a midlife crisis, right? But it doesn't have to be midlife. We can have awakenings at any age, 20s, younger, 30s. You can have multiple ones throughout your life as well, and they can all look and feel a little different. But after a reflection upon the spiritual awakenings I've been through, there's always a stage where there's a little lost feeling because your soul starts to awaken to things that are no longer in alignment for your human journey, for your path. Reason number 1 you're feeling so lost and confused in this stage is this is a period of unknown and uncertainty, and that can create a lot of agitation, worry, frustration for your ego. The ego that feels safe and wants to be in control with knowing the next steps, knowing what to do, where to go, how to be. Our mind likes to know because essentially this is a time where your soul is clearing, shifting, releasing, transmuting, upgrading, aligning parts of you for where you're going and where you're moving towards. You're really in this stage of old ways being cleared and shifted, and then anchoring into your next version, your highest version of self. This gap is that I'm not fully anchored and grounded into this next version of myself. So a lot is being shaken up right now. It can be very uncomfortable. The antidote here, the support for your inner world, for your ego, is this ego soothing truth that something greater is at play here, guiding you, holding you, supporting you, your soul. You could call this a soul awakening, not just a spiritual awakening. Trusting in your path, your pace, your journey throughout your spiritual awakening, cultivating that trust and soothing your ego. I am safe. My soul is guiding me. I am held and supported in more than enough in every phase, stage, transition, and cycle of my life. So even when you're feeling lost, you are still guided. You are still supported, even if it feels like you're not because you're in the unknown and the uncertainty. But that doesn't mean you aren't guided, you aren't held, you aren't supported. So I'll give you an example. When I went through one of my very first spiritual awakenings, I was being pulled out and drawn out of a business that I had co-owned. It was my life. I had put my blood, sweat, and tears in that. It was starting to just not be in alignment with me because there was so much like hard work that was burning out. I was really not operating from my true self, using my voice. I was just letting people walk all over me. It was a very unhealthy environment. And so when I was called to move out of that and that ending and clearing of where I was living, I left that place. I left that business. I left the community I had been a part of. I was kind of like forced out too, but that time of like, okay, now where am I going to live? Where am I going to move to? What am I going to do for work? That felt very, very like I was lost. But that time between all the endings and the clearings of that life I was in, that I was not operating from my highest version of self at that time, to moving to that point, there was about a 5-month period where I just went to my mom's. I stayed with her. I had the time to heal in the sunshine in Florida. I'm from Canada, so it was very cold in winter months. I got to be in sunshine. And in that time where I didn't know where I was going, what I was doing, it was to heal and to heal from like CPTSD, from a very toxic, traumatic experience for years that sometimes you don't see that you're in until you wake up and you're like, whoa, that has been very, very unhealthy. And that time to heal, just the trust that I'm being guided, I'm being led. And then within 5 months, the next step was revealed. And that might seem like a really long time for you. If you're like, 5 months? No, I got 5 days, I gotta figure this out. We don't rush the process, the path, your pace. It's all in divine timing. And now I can see how positive, beneficial, potent the endings of that business and that where I was living. I got to move to one of the most beautiful places and warmest places in Canada. I really got to restart, hit the refresh button, and make my comeback as a higher, evolved, healed version of myself. So you're not actually lost. You're discovering your true self. You're finding who you really are. Reason number 2 why you're feeling so lost right now during your spiritual awakening is that your wounded masculine has been at the forefront in your life, leading you, moving you. Wounded masculine, we all have those two energies within us, regardless of gender, masculine and feminine. And our society and culture, especially in North America, really pushes that force and that hustle and that grind, and even to the point of overdoing it, overextending yourself, burnout, exhaustion, misalignment, right? Like the spiritual awakening is all about aligning to your truth, aligning to your highest self, highest path, highest timeline. That's just a snippet of the spiritual awakening. So wounded masculine has been leading and at the forefront. Your system is so used to constantly moving, doing, pushing, pressing, rushing. So you'll feel very agitated and restless because in that phase, in that gap of where you are, where you're going, who you were, who you're becoming, this stillness period to heal and process and connect and clear what is coming up to the surface to look at will require that stillness, that deeper introspection and connection, which is more feminine qualities. So if you find yourself in this unhealthy connection to time, like I said earlier, I only got 5 days to work through this season, this phase. That is an unhealthy connection and attachment to time versus being in time, being in the present. Again, another feminine quality. So it's not that you just want to operate from feminine, it's the harmony of the two. So the antidote for this one is really allowing yourself to be in the present moment and what is coming up to the surface of your awakening that wants to be addressed, what is bubbling up. And you'll be able to connect with, oh, this unhealthy attachment to time, always being in a rush, always pressing, always against the clock. Okay, what's the antidote? It's being in time, being present. So how can you start to practice to be in the present? The book Power of Now by Eckhart Tolle was profound in shifting this for me. Mantras, I'm safe to be in the present, deep awareness and being in your body by, if you feel that like rushing energy coming up, taking a breath, taking a moment and repeating, I am safe to be in the present. It's fun to be in the present. It's glorious to be in the present. Find ones that really resonate with you. Quieting the mind, meditating. So this will be challenging at first. If wounded masculine, it's always in the mind, it's that mental chatter, it's that hamster wheel of thoughts constantly. Quieting the mind, it will take practice and it will be so frustrating at first because it's something new and it's not enjoyable right away because it's like the body's like, we should be doing, and the mind's like, why aren't we doing? But the more that it's safe to be, it's safe to be in the present, those mantras, a guided meditation. This will support you, and you'll actually be able to start to connect to that feminine side, that intuition, to nurture yourself. And nature, being out in nature helps you reconnect to the rhythms and the seasons and the flow of nature. Think of the human nature. Nature is in human nature, reconnecting back to nature. Lean up against a tree, let your hands at your feet touch and ground into the leaves and the grass, or touching the bark on a tree, coming back to that nature. You'll notice if you constantly would put your decisions and choices externally and outside of yourself externally, this is the time to go within, internally. You'll start to see what's bubbling up. There is an antidote to it. There is the support to soften, support, nourish, clear what is coming up. So if this is, you would always second guess yourself or always question, is this the right way? Is this the right way? Well, now dropping from mind, going into heart, connecting to your heart. Ways to connect your heart, literally just putting your hands over your heart, breathing into your heart, feeling a heart-based emotion of gratitude, love, kindness, compassion. These are ways to connect that feminine side of you, to connect deeper within, from mind down, dropping down into your heart. When feminine and masculine energies are in harmony together, because masculine is the structure and the organization, action, and there's feminine action too, of honoring your intuition and taking action based on your intuition. When those are in harmony, you're not lost. You receive guidance from your intuition, and together, masculine and feminine, you move in the direction of guidance. But if you've been operating from that wounded masculine, this will be that call to reconnect back to that feminine side, that feminine energy. So to summarize those ones, quiet the mind, be in the present. Some mantras: I'm safe to be in the present. It's glorious to be in the present. I don't know why I kept going like this. Connect to your feminine side, nature and nurture. Be out in nature, nurture, connect to your intuition, and you'll start to feel that harmony of both energies together. Reason number 3 why you're feeling lost, confused in this stage of your spiritual awakening is your inner child needs tending to. So spiritual awakenings are so beautiful because they really do bring things up that maybe we've pushed down and we've suppressed. And a lot of that can be from this lifetime with our inner child. So inner child healing, inner child connecting, I'm sure you've heard that before, is so, so powerful and profound to start to turn back online parts of you turned off. So maybe turning your voice off because it didn't matter when you're younger. Maybe confidence is turned off or down because you were always told, why didn't you do better? That's not good enough. Perhaps your self-esteem has been dimmed. Again, this could even bring up where wounded masculine was created, because you always had to work really, really hard to be validated, to feel loved, important, significant. As children, not only do we have physical needs to be met of food and shelter, clothing, but we also have emotional needs to feel loved, important, significant, enough. You can actually start to trace back times, memories, moments, experiences, significant events where you didn't feel loved, wanted, like you belong, what you want is available to you, good enough, lovable, important. Again, any iteration of lack, not worthy enough, not capable enough. And you can just really connect to any of those memories and any of those times. And this is a really powerful visualization to support you in working with your inner child, is allow an image of the younger you, or even a picture of younger you, and talk to that younger you as if you're the loving parent to them, and tell them the truth. You were born enough and nothing has changed. You were born worthy. You are innately, inherently worthy, lovable. and speak as you would as if this is your own child, with a loving, caring, compassionate, uplifting voice. And once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, let emotion come up. You might feel, I had one client, she just cried and cried and cried and cried so much. It was like all these tears coming up that the younger her never got to feel. And that saying, feel to heal, feeling what's coming up, as if you push down emotions and didn't feel them in the moment, they got pushed down and now they can come up and you're in a safe place and space to feel them. I also like to imagine and visualize energy and light that I turned off or I dimmed down coming back online, upgrading, aligning to who I am now, and just feel light, so much light, like soul retrieval, parts of me that were turned off, didn't feel safe to express. I won't fit in, I won't belong if that, letting all my light come back on. And notice if this is in one of my spiritual awakenings, it was really clear to me that I was holding myself back from making mistakes, learning through exploring, experimenting. So going back to my inner child that was not allowed to make mistakes. In my upbringing, I was forced to play piano and go into piano competitions, and it might not sound like a big deal, but I wasn't allowed to make mistakes practicing. I wasn't allowed to make mistakes during the judging of these competitions. So I really, in my adulthood, no, cannot make mistakes. Everything needs to be perfect, but that's not the way that my soul wants me to live the rest of my life and in my creative endeavors and adventures, and to really soften that gripping that was established in childhood. So going back to my younger self and saying, Meg, you are so allowed to make mistakes, to fall down, that there's so much wisdom and learnings and insights from making mistakes. And I've had to repeat this verbiage, these mantras, these declarations, these truths to myself, whether it be my younger self or just saying it out loud constantly, because it was constantly reinforced within me throughout my younger years. Reason number 4, why you feel lost, confused in this time during your spiritual awakening, is you don't know where to go. You don't know what to do. You don't know. It's just this, I don't know, kind of this limbo state. And going back to point number 1, the mind wants to know. This unknown, this uncertainty is very disorienting for the mind. You will be guided when to move. You will feel it. You will either be shown or it will be very clear. It might not be the whole picture, or probably be like step 1. And again, the mind will be like, I need the whole picture, because maybe you're used to 5-year plans and it's like, okay, I know the 5-year plan and that's how I'm gonna get where I'm going. Where you might just be guided 1 step and your mind might be like, nope, that's not enough. It's enough. I heard this from one of my spiritual teachers and I was just like, yes, stillness is not stagnation. So in this period of where you're really being called to probably being more still and to connect to what's coming up versus like fighting and trying to get out of it. Trust me, I've done that. I've tried to fight this gap, this transition, this phase. It does not work. It actually prolongs it. So when you can surrender to just being in the present, being in this transition phase, period, time, it's just a transition. You're not gonna be here the rest of your life. This is a potent time to address what is no longer in alignment, to move forward with, where your soul's like, no more, your higher self's like, no more. so that you can anchor into your next level self. But this time where it might feel like nothing's moving, I'm not moving, it's not stagnation. Lots is shifting within you, and you can support yourself in this time. Supporting yourself, not fighting the process, but supporting yourself. Like with all the antidotes that I've shared, being in the present, those soothing ego truths, the one where I was saying, I am held, supported in every phase, stage, transition, and cycle of my life in more than enough. That one is so supportive for your mind. If it's like, well, how am I gonna like pay this and do that and do this? And I'm not saying like quit everything. Like if you have the capacity and you feel good to like go to work or do things like that, then absolutely. But trusting you are held and supported in more than enough in every phase, stage, transition, and cycle of your life. You're just allowing the universe, your higher levels, to support you in more than enough in every phase, even if it's a stillness phase. Supported in more than enough, with more than enough guidance, with more than enough, like being guided to watch this video and reading the comments that people leave on this video. That was so helpful for me when I would watch YouTube videos about this process, because it can feel very lonely, which does get me to number 5. You feel lost in this time because it does feel lonely. It's like no one in your reality is understanding what you're going through, because you don't really understand what you're going through. You might feel embarrassed or ashamed that you're in this unknown, uncertain awakening. And leaving a comment to let people know, like, this is what I'm experiencing, this is what helped me. And even coming back when you've shifted through it, I might even write to you in a year and be like, where are you at now for that update? That's so helpful for people to see, okay, and see themselves in what you're writing. Oh, I'm not alone. Like, this is what they're experiencing, and this is what I'm experiencing. It is so powerful. You are not alone. I only know about all this because I've gone through it more than once. So let this be a powerful antidote for you. Your soul is guiding you through this. You will not only get through this, but you are growing through this. You are meant to go through this. That's why your soul is chosen this time, this lifetime, in this now. And it truly is for you to experience more of life, to experience more of the divine human journey. Love, joy, adventure, impact, success, health, wealth, prosperity, all the lovely divine gifts of this human experience. So that mantra of I am held and supported in more than enough in every phase, stage, transition, and cycle of my life, it will be so soothing for the part of you that just wants to get out of this. I'm growing through this. I am meant to be going through this. You can come up with ones that just feel calming and invoke that peace and trust in your soul, in yourself, in your awakening process. Kind of jump to 5 from 4, feeling lost because you don't know where to go or what to do. Trusting and knowing you will receive the answers, you will receive the guidance, you will receive that feeling, that knowingness, that pull, that intuition, where to move, when to move, what that move may look like in any and all areas of your life. When you get present, you connect to your heart, your intuition, that does come through. Those are 5 reasons why you're feeling lost during this spiritual awakening. I would love to read your comments, where you're at right now, what has been the most supportive for you during this time of feeling lost. When you've been through this before, what helped you? And let's just support each other. Looking forward to hearing from you, connecting with you. Say goodbye to Indy. Say bye, Indy. Till next we meet.